You can show that to your friends and they'll say, but that's a right-leaning think tank. What you're suggesting me, what they're claiming here, that these actual court cases of convictions are fake? No, they're not fake. You're just making that up. They're very real. You just don't want to acknowledge that voter fraud is, in fact, a thing. Media morons, print writers, TV editorialists pretending to be journalists, still pretend, number one, they don't know the difference between mass mail-in voting not by request and absentee balloting by request. And they ignore the data that even absentee balloting by mail by request has its own issues. Paper absentee has its own problems before you even get to mass ballot mailing. You think I'm making this up, how the media is playing dumb? Here is the Nicole Wallace of Katie Tours, Brianna Keeler over at CNN. Seriously, one incredibly boring. Even some leftists, you kind of laugh at their conspiracy theory collusion stuff, but at least sometimes they're entertaining to watch as they melt down on television. Sometimes I'll watch George Costanza on CNN and I'll watch him totally melt down, and it's actually pretty hilarious to watch. Brianna Keeler's boring and not smart, which is like a double whammy. Brianna Keeler, again, the Nicole Wallace of Katie Tours. Here's a video of her on with the infinitely smarter Mercedes Schlapp, who actually knows something. And here's Brianna Keeler of CNN pretending she doesn't understand the difference, one, between mail-in balloting and mass, not by request, and absentee ballots by request. And then number two, pretending that voter fraud doesn't exist, besides the fact that Mercedes Schlapp says, well, there's an actual website at the Heritage Foundation, don't worry, we'll show you that too, where you can see the voter fraud. She's not interested. She thinks it's all crap. Here's Brianna Keeler, the Nicole Wallace of Katie Tours on CNN, humiliating herself yet again. Check this out.
I'd like to ask my question.
I can go to these states with
Mercedes,
you.
Mercedes, okay. Why are you doing that? Because it appears that it's just to sow doubt in the minds of people about whether their votes are going to matter.
Look, for both sides, for this nation, for the sake of America, we need to make sure that every vote matters. And it's why, it's important that we get this right.
So then why are you trying to ensure that some people won't be able to vote?
The ballot 3 days after the election. Let me ask
why
you that
are you
question.
Okay, if everyone's you just said Mercedes, if you just said that everybody you were just stating that a priority should be for people to practice their rights as Americans and vote. And look, if they're registered voters, that is their right. So then why are you talking? Why are you villainizing mail-in voting, which would give people the ability to practice their right as an American and vote?
I'm going to ask you again. Do you think it's okay after November 3rd to be able to cast a ballot 3 days after or 7 days after the election? November 3rd.
Mercedes, yes or no? You're saying that voter fraud is a thing, and I'm telling you that it's not, and you're muddying the waters. And I also wonder, don't you worry that that's going to actually hurt you? I mean, isn't that to the point why the president has said when it comes
issues may have left thousands
Mercedes,
of votes
I'm asking.
I'm just going.
Mercedes,
I can go.
Mercedes,
fact, we can go have
this is like so. This is just pointless. Okay, this is pointless. I get it. You're just saying a bunch of crap. Okay, you're saying a bunch of crap.
Can I tell you what? No. Let me tell you.
We're talking about we're talking about voting in a pandemic.
We're talking. All of a sudden, okay. You don't let them have a conversation with them.
We're talking about voting in a pandemic. Okay. We're talking about people trying to. Can you listen, Mercedes? I need you to listen to me. Okay, let's focus and have a serious conversation here.
Voter fraud, Brianna Keeler is quote not a thing. That's a very deep analysis. Again, this is one of the least bright people on television who is boring too. I mean, it explains why CNN rarely, if ever, cracks the top 10 in shows, because they hire people like the not bright, incredibly boring, supremely untalented Brianna Keeler, who again is a less smart Nicole Wallace from MSNBC. So Brianna Keeler saying voter fraud isn't a thing. I'm going to include again in today's show notes, which I encourage you to subscribe to and open up, for that New York Times article, and for this link too, Paula was kind enough to put up, which Mercedes Schlapp was trying to tell Breonna Keeler about, but she's not smart enough to listen. The Heritage Foundation. Here is their website, which will be linked in the show notes today. Again, check it out. A sampling of election fraud cases from around the country. 1,088 proven instances of voter fraud, 949 criminal convictions, 48 civil penalties, 75 diversion programs, 8 judicial findings, 8 official findings. Keep in mind, these are only the 1,000 we know about of voter fraud cases. But don't worry, Joe. Don't worry. Calm down. Breonna Keeler, the Albert Einstein of CNN midday hosts, the Stephen Hawking of fake news specialists, said, quote, it's not a thing. So it's not a thing because CNN told you so. So don't worry. Joe, don't worry.
Much better. Thank you.
And I know you were very concerned about the election. I don't want you to be worried. Now, of course, Breonna Keeler probably doesn't even, read the newspaper. But if she did, she'd see this article in the New York Post about a natural experiment going on right now in live time with mass mail-in voting that Breonna Keeler says, don't worry, voter fraud, not a thing, not a problem. Don't worry about it. New York Post. 25% of ballots in a Brooklyn June primary declared invalid. August 4th, 2020. Does that say 2020, Paula? Does that say 2016? This is an old story. No, this is actually from just the other day. What's today's date? Today's the 5th. So that was yesterday. I had to check that. I'm anchored in Paula's birthday, which is August 2nd. I can't get past it. It is a month-long extravaganza in the Bongino household. This is just yesterday. 25%. For the liberals, that's 1/4. 1 out of 4, 1/4, a quarter, in other words. That is a quarter of ballots submitted by mail declared invalid. Don't worry, Breonna Keeler, she doesn't actually read the newspaper. She probably didn't see that. She was too busy trying to correct Mercedes Schlapp for giving her actual information. Voter fraud, it's not a thing. Brianna's IQ is not a thing. I'm not sure voter fraud isn't a thing. Check out that Heritage database. It's right there. Again, Bongino.com/newsletter for the show notes, which we put a lot of work into. Check it out. You can show that to your friends and they'll say, but that's a right-leaning think tank. What you're suggesting me, what they're claiming here, that these actual court cases of convictions are fake? No, they're not fake. You're just making that up. They're very real. You just don't want to acknowledge that voter fraud is, in fact, a thing.
You just heard Dan Bongino.